Hi. So today we're going to talk about we're going to do an introduction to our life cycle. So every day when we are in the classroom, we talk about our life cycle and where crops are right now in our state. So what crop is this? This is corn. You said corn, you're right. So this is the seed, the seedling, the fully grown plant, and then the mature plant. So this is when we harvest, and we'll have a whole session and we'll do some sessions on harvest, and this is more what harvest looks like when we go out in the field with a combine and we cut it down, and we'll talk about that later. Right now, our corn plant is right here. So there's no corn in the ground right now. We should be getting it in the ground pretty soon. But it's in a bag or a silo somewhere, and it's waiting to be planted. What is this? So these are soybeans. So soybeans are in a similar life cycle as the corn. So right now soybeans are up here. Interestingly, we actually are growing soybeans here at our house right now, so we can show you what a soybean looks like when it's in its life cycle. But this will go into the ground here pretty soon, and we won't harvest it into the fall. After they go through their mature phase, which is when the moisture is left, they're fully grown, then we can bring it to harvest. So one seed becomes many seeds. There's about 3 pods in each, or 3 seeds in each of these pods. And so their life cycle. So here is actually a soybean plant that we're growing in our house as a project right now. They're a lot weaker when they're grown inside because they don't have to contend with the outside elements. But we'll talk about this a lot more in a program when we can talk about soybeans out in our fields. So this one, who knows what this is? So this is the biggest crop that we grow here in the state of Kansas. We're known as the breadbasket because we grow a whole lot of wheat. So our wheat life cycle, you would think is probably in this stage also right now because the soybeans and the corn were, but they aren't. So in Kansas, we grow something called hard red winter wheat, and the wheat life cycle is a little bit different than it is for, well, that's not true. The life cycle is the same. The timeline is different. The timeline, we actually plant these seeds in the fields in the fall before it gets frozen in the wintertime, and it grows just a tiny bit. So if you're driving past Kansas fields and you see green out there this time of year, it's typically wheat. It is wheat. Right now it's getting pretty green outside, so you're going to start seeing a whole lot of green, but over the winter months, if you see bright green out in a field, it's wheat. And then it's going to grow all the way to maturity here at the bottom, and we will harvest this in probably June. A lot of that, of course, depends on the weather. So the thing that we grow the most of here in Greenwood County is hay. So there are a whole lot of pastures that are just filled with grass. This is obviously what our cattle eat. Our cattle are out on the grass, out in wide open spaces all the time, and they're eating this grass, and we'll do a whole lot of sessions on grass because the grasses at the Flint Hills are very special. But in the peak of the summer, when the grass is really tall and it's really nutrient dense, we're gonna mow it down just like you would with your lawn, but we're gonna get it into these rows, and then we're gonna put it into bales, and we'll save these bales of hay, and we'll feed it to our cattle in the wintertime when the grass is covered in snow. The grass is actually out there, and it is something that they are using for forage, but it's not something that's providing a whole lot of nutrition. So we give them the grass and we supplement their diets as well. to make sure that they're very, very well fed during this winter months when it's nice and cold. But the grass is going to come up, and we're going to do something really special to our grass here in the very near future. And if you live close to the Flint Hills, or if you live in the state of Kansas, you probably know about this because you've seen it. We burn the Flint Hills. So our grass looks like this right now. It's kind of a golden color. And here in the next weeks, we're going to start lighting this grass on fire. And we're going to do a whole lot of education about this over the next couple of weeks so that you can see it, you can understand why it is that we do this, but this is incredibly important to the ecosystem that we have here in the Flint Hills and to maintain the tall grass prairie, that we continue to burn this grassland. It's a ton of work. We do not do this because it's fun, I assure you, but we have to maintain the grass. We have to keep the woody species, invasive species, at bay by burning them, and so that they can't take over, because they say that if we don't maintain the grasslands the way that we do, that it could be the end of the Flint Hills within the next 40 years, and we certainly don't want that. So look forward to our longer sessions that we're going to talk about each of the crops at length. And we'll take you outside here and show you what's going on outside here in the Flint Hills right now.